Hey guys, Tony Denaro here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about cannabis stocks. Sundial, Tilray, Aurora Cannabis. What was the big news that caused these stocks to move today? What to expect tomorrow on Friday? And what to expect next week? Let's get right into it. All right, let's talk first about Sundial. Massive day for Sundial. Ticker symbol SNDL up 23.10% during market hours. Up another 16% aftermarket, topping out in the aftermarket at 90 cents and closing at 86 cents. Tilray brands, ticker symbol TLRY, up 21.85% during market hours, 17.65% additional tacked on after hours. In aftermarket trading, Tilray topped out at $8.49, finishing up the day at $8.20 after market. To close out the trio, we have Aurora Cannabis, ticker symbol ACB, up about 11% during market hours and an additional 18.5% after the market closed, topping out at $5.17 after market and finishing strong at $4.79. All right, so I know you're wondering, is this a short squeeze? What is going on with these stocks? Let's take a quick look at the Ortex for each one of them and talk about that for a second. Here is the data for Sundial. You can see that orange line on the graph at the left showing a declining short interest. The current short interest for Sundial is about 11.5%. The utilization is at 96.69%. Cost to borrow is around 14%. And the shares on loan, 406 million. Tilray brands, you can see on the orange line, shows an increasing short interest. It is currently sitting at about 14.6%. The utilization is at 97.68%. Cost to borrow is fairly low at 2.95%, with these shares on loan at 101 million. And finally, we have Aurora Cannabis. You can see the orange line showing a declining short interest. It's currently sitting at about 8.6%. Utilization just under 48%. Cost to borrow fairly low at 2.5%, and the shares on loan at 28 million. So what exactly is going on with these stocks if it is not a short squeeze or short interest related, because none of them really have a short interest that is high enough to be driving this type of action? Let's take a look at the news. I will put a link to this article in the video description for you, but the big news that is making all of these stocks move today, tomorrow, and probably into next week is that the federal marijuana legalization bill is officially scheduled for a House floor vote next week. The House of Representatives will take up the MORE Act next week. That is the Marijuana Opportunity, Reinvestment and Expungement Act. An earlier version of this act cleared the House last session. However, it did stall in the Senate because it was Republican controlled at that time. The fact that the House is taking this up again can be a game changer for these stocks. It would remove cannabis from the list of federally controlled substances and promote social equity in the industry. Rumors began yesterday on Wednesday that this legislation would be coming back for a vote. Now House leaders have officially placed the cannabis legislation on a list of bills that they plan to take up on the House floor next week. The Rules Committee will officially take up the measure in a meeting on Monday afternoon to prepare it for floor action, including by determining which amendments will be allowed to advance for consideration. Meanwhile, stakeholders are awaiting the formal introduction of a similar bill in the Senate from Senator Chuck Schumer. That is the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, which is scheduled to come up in the Senate in April. If you tack on, in addition to that Sundial has earnings scheduled for March 30th, you can see why the big move was in Sundial today, and I expect that to continue tomorrow. Now, if you have been listening to my channel for any length of time, I've been saying for 6 or 7 months that I was not going to be a buyer of Sundial until it dropped below 50 cents. Yes, I have been calling for a price drop in Sundial from the highs it got in June of 2021, expecting that I would be able to pick it up at a very low price. It did recently drop below 50 cents, and I did establish a position finally in Sundial at 49 cents. And that patience is important as an investor. If you like a stock, you need to be able to identify what is a reasonable entry point. Having now entered that position at 49 cents, I am up almost double my position in just a couple weeks. These are the type of things that I hope to teach you on this channel, identifying which stocks you want to own and then identifying when is a good entry point. No one wants to be a bag holder. No one wants to pay too much. These cannabis stocks are moved by news and by investor sentiment, social sentiment. Now that we have the position established, it was great timing because the news came right after that, and this is a potential for a massive, massive gain on this stock with no bag holding from last year. I do also own Aurora Cannabis. Stay tuned to the channel. I will be providing updates as the legislation progresses through the House next week and in the Senate in April. And I'll also be talking about the Sundial earnings when they post on March 30th. I am Tony Denaro. I want to ask you, if you got value out of today's content, please buy and hold that subscribe button. Join me any day of the week at market open or during power hour when the market closes, and I will see you on the next video.
So you wanna go to